for petrol. But you'll see dead nice. Next art's one, his name is Peter Edge. We're going to start the applause and cheering. We're going to go all the way to the side of the room to our other half of the school reunion. I want to say Peter Edge. After me, 1, 2, 3, start the applause!
Good evening, sir. You okay? Yeah. Brilliant. Great stuff. Never really done a gig in a crematorium before. Classy though, that, isn't it? It's classy, classy. Sales classy. Sales is posh, isn't it? It's posh in sale. Just parked my car outside, I got stopped by some homeless guy. He said, you got a couple of quid for a cup of tea? Now, probably, like most people, I don't really carry cash anymore since the pandemic. I felt quite pleased about that. I said, I'm sorry, mate, I haven't. He says, all right, I've got a card reader. Shit. Well, I'd usually give them, a cup of coffee and a sandwich so they don't spaff it up the wall on drugs or drinks. So I said, well, put me down for a £5. He said, do you want cash back? I said, did I stop you or did you stop me? I said, no, I don't. He says, you can add another 25% with gift aid as well if you want. And don't worry, he says, you can claim it back when you do your income tax return. I'm getting financial advice from a homeless guy in sales. I've got mine to unsubscribe to his newsletter. I've just a little bit about me. I've travelled across from Prescott. I don't expect anyone to know where Prescott is, but does someone know where Prescott is? Yeah. Oh no. Good job, because it's not a quiz. It's not a quiz. Prescott sits between Liverpool and St Helens, and it can't really make its mind up whether it's in Liverpool or in St Helens. And the people are the same. They can't make their mind up whether they're Liverpool people or St Helens people. And, that's important, particularly for young people growing up. They've got to have that sense of identity, that sense of place. Well, thankfully, there's a little rule of thumb that you can apply, which is, if your dad's sleeping with you or your sister, you're from St Helens. But if you're sleeping with your mum's sister or her best mate, then you're from Liverpool. Thankfully, we touched the nerve there, haven't we? I was going to give you the fist bump and I thought, no way. No, I'm from the Liverpool side, so I'm safe with kids, I have to say. Although I nearly killed one last night in the supermarket. We were doing a weekly shop, me and the wife last night, and do you love a good German supermarket? Do you? Yeah, I love a good German supermarket, because we needed some cottage cheese and a Hadron Collider. So we went out to the supermarket, and we were standing at the queue there with all the shopping, and there's a woman in front of us with this kid who can only be described as feral. And he's been running around the shop all day, And she's given him a bag of own brand cheese puffs, what we might call Watsits, just to keep him busy. And he's stuffing them in his face, left, right and centre. And there's this older woman on this side who's got a face like a bulldog chewing a wasp, looking at this child. You can read her mind, and she's saying, that woman has got no idea how to parent that child. And I'm looking at all this. Next minute, a Watsit goes down the wrong way, this kid, and he starts shooting. And he's turning blue. So his mum does no more than go behind him, does the old Heimlich manoeuvre, and a whole packet of semi-digested Watsits go out onto this woman's brogues, which does little to improve her mood. So she's snarling at him. The mum's having a go at her, and my wife says, you don't look very happy. I said, well, what do you think? I've got frowns to the left of me, chokers to the right, and here I am, stuck in the middle. I'm safe safe with children. I've got children now, and I've got 3 kids. Give us a shout if you've got kids. Yay! Great. I love my kids. They're great kids, honestly. They're fantastic. I'd do anything for them. I've got 3 daughters. But you know, sometimes it's hard being the only bloke in the house. I'm officially a sexually oppressed minority in my own home. And I'm numbered 5 to 1. Because there's the 3 girls. There's my wife. And God love him, even my dog now identifies as female. Because it's just easier, you know. And I don't know if you know this, but when women live together, there's some strange biochemical self-defense mechanism that kicks in and makes them form a coalition. You know, like Charlie's Angels, or in my case, the Witches of Eastwick. And you can't say anything. Honestly, I've not been right since 1998. And you argue with one of them, you argue with them all. And they can scent the blood in the water, you know, like sharks, only more efficient. And the slightest thing will kick them off. Slightest thing. Oh, that's a nice top. What do you mean, that's a nice top? I'm just saying that's a nice top. So why are you having a go at my top? I'm not having a go at your top. I said it was a nice top. You're having a go at my top, then the second one's in. Is he having a go at your top? I'm not having a go at the top. Yes, you were. I heard it, and the third one kicks in. Why are you having a go at the top? I'm not having a go at the top. Yes, you are, and now you're shouting. I'm not shouting. You are shouting. Look, you made it cry. And then the wife comes in. Who's made it cry? He has. Shut down the man it's up. I'm not shouting. It's a nice fucking top. So why didn't you just say it was a nice top? And it was worse a few years ago because they were all teenagers at the same time. I mean, not the wife, obviously. Because I'm not from St. Helens. But no, in fairness, they're all grown up now, my girls. Now, I'm very proud of them. Very proud of them because they've all grown up to be strong, independent women. What I call feminists with a small f. Unlike a friend of mine who's a feminist with a whopping big F. And she's always banging on about it, you know, about diversity and equality and inclusion. I get it. I'm a new man. It's the 21st century. I've even got a sourdough starter. But she never shuts up about it. And she's a lawyer in the construction industry. So she gets her mobile phone out the other day. She says, look at that. That's what's wrong with the construction industry. And it's a photograph on her phone, and it's an industry dinner. And it's mainly blokes, mainly white blokes, mainly aged about 25 to 50. I said, what's the problem? She says, where's the diversity and inclusion there? I said, well, you can't say that. Some of those blokes might be gay. Some of them might be bi. Some of them may be in transition. Some of them may be dual heritage, just with a light complexion. She said, no, where are the women? So, well, they might have gone for a wee. They usually do. She says, no, the women aren't included. Nobody ever includes the women in construction. Name me one man who ever includes women in construction. And apparently Fred West wasn't the answer she was looking for. Do you need to get that, mate? Do you need to? No, you're all right. Yeah, you're all right. So Tony, is it? It's all right, Tony. You leave it. It's okay. I wouldn't pick on you at all, Tony. Not with that lovely zip-fronted polo shirt. A catalogue man, isn't it? Anyway, you'd be glad to know that the gender imbalance in my family has been redressed with the arrival of my grandchildren. Have we got any grandparents in? Yeah? They're great. Just let me ask, the grandparents present. Do you ever find yourself watching Peppa Pig and then realise that the kids went home half an hour ago? And your missus reaches over for the remote control and says, no, leave it, this is a good one. But yeah, I mean, they're great, my grandsons. I've got these two grandsons, and the eldest one started school last year. And I've just done that, have you heard of that World Book Day thing? Yeah, World Book Day, where the kids go into school dressed in costume from one of their favourite books, yeah? All heard of that, yeah? Well, I'm just not sure that my daughter's quite got that anyway. Because she got this letter back from school the day after. And it read there, "Dear Ms. Edge," very politically correct, "thank you so much for the obvious time and effort you took with Elliot's costume as we prepared to celebrate World Book Day. The false tan and dreadlocks must have taken you out. However, I feel duty bound to point out that this term we've been reading Charles Dickens with the children, and we were rather hoping that Elliot's costume would represent the character of Jacob Marley." Not, as your son so eloquently argued, his older brother Bob. And while we encourage the use of props to bring the children's chosen characters to life, we felt that a 6-inch spliff perhaps overstepped the mark for year 2. Thank you for your continued support, Mrs. Davis. So yeah, I don't think she's quite got the idea. Well, I mean, we never had World Book Day when I was a kid. We never had World Book Day, did we, Tony? We never had books. We never had books. We couldn't afford books. Don't throw me in like that. You know, I was talking about the crematorium before. That's why you're on the front row, isn't it? And you cut down on the transport costs, don't you? Yeah, we never had books, Tony. I come from a big Catholic family. We couldn't afford books. But to tell you the truth, my mum, she was a very proud woman, and she insisted that we could all read and write before we went to school. But of course, we didn't have any books, so we learned to read from the births, deaths and marriages column in the Liverpool Echo. But it worked. It worked. Because I remember on my first day at school, one of the teachers said, "Peter, your reading is excellent. Where did you learn to read?" I said, "At home. Peacefully." Surrounded by family. Anyway, yeah, the good news is that the youngest daughter said she's getting married, and we couldn't be happier for her. Well, I say we couldn't be happier for her, but we couldn't be happy for her until she told us how much it was going to cost. Because what's the first thing you do as a dad? You go on Google, you know, average cost, UK wedding, 2023, £30,000. £30,000. Have you any idea how many lights I'd have to turn off? So we've been looking at ways that we might be able to save a bit of money on the wedding. So things like, you know, wedding cars. But if you're ever in the market for a second-hand car, consider a wedding car. In fact, better still, consider a funeral car. We did. We bought a hearse, me and my missus. Because, you know, they get washed and polished every day, regularly maintained, very rarely go over 20 miles an hour. And everybody in the back's usually got their best clobber on, so there's no mud on the seats. And I'll tell you another thing. No one gives you a dirty look when you're parking a disabled bay in Tesco in a hearse. I started drawing the curtains and parking in the parent and child bay. Some fella said, "Hey mate, you're parked in the parent and child bay." So my dad's in the back. But the really good thing is, you know, my missus has never been able to fall asleep in the car on a long journey. But now, you know, she just jumps in the back. She's out like a light, isn't she? Stopped at a set of traffic lights the other day. This woman said, "Oh my God, look, that poor woman can't even afford a coffin." Came over, knocked on the door and gave me a tenner. So buy her some flowers with it. So that's what we do most weekends now. I just stick a bit of extra Nitol in a porridge. Throw her in the back. Made 170 quid in Warrington last weekend. I'll tell you, you don't get pulled by the police either. Well, not much. You know, I got pulled once for speeding, which was in the back. And it was one of those, you know, those really sarcastic traffic bullies. And he said, "Oh, well, Lewis Hamilton, where's the fire?" Well, I'm hoping it's at the Crown. Because otherwise I'm going to have to take it home, and there's not that much room in the freezer. Oh dear, these are the things you have to do, yeah. But so we looked at some other ways that we might be able to save a bit of money on a wedding. Wedding photographers, £1,500 for a wedding photographer. When me and my missus got married, my mate did it for a couple of pints and a curry. I mean, he was a professional. He was qualified, but he was a scenes of crime photographer. So he wasn't used to working with the living, which came in quite handy with my wife's family. In fact, it came in quite handy in general, because most Scouse weddings end up being a crime scene one way or another. But it was all right, because you know, once you got over the initial shock, you know, of him turning up with plastic bags on his feet and a shower cap, it was all right. But it got a bit weird in the middle, because we got to the cutting of the cake, and he insisted on photographing the knife separately. Stuck a little label on it, put in a plastic bag. We never saw it again. But the good news was that it was very professional, because a couple of weeks before the wedding, my Auntie Peggy died. It was really sad, you know. My Auntie Peggy died. There's a lot sadder than that, but never mind. But he didn't make a big fuss. Just on a big family photograph, he just took a little white outline of where she should have been. With my Uncle Matt looking into the space. Sobbing, holding a ruler, you know, for scale. Anyway, it's all going ahead. The wedding's all going ahead, and of course, it's not for 18 months, but she's gone on a diet, my daughter. I'm very proud of her, because she's gone on this diet. She's not doing like Slimming World or Weight Watchers or anything like that. She's doing it on her own. But yesterday she had the weekly weigh. Are you familiar with the weekly weigh-in day? I'm not singling you out for any particular reason, but yeah, you know. Those of you who might have tried to do this sort of thing, you have the weekly weigh-in day. It's got to be the same time, the same day of the week, the same scales, all that sort of stuff. Well, we keep our good scales in the kitchen. So she comes down yesterday, gets on the scales, thinks, oh, go for a wee, lose a couple of ounces. Comes back, she thinks, solid. Kicks her slippers off, takes her dressing gown on, gets on the scales, just there. The bra, my pants, and the window cleaner. Good news is he came to collect his money, he gave me a £5. But it's not been easy. It's not been easy getting to this stage, ladies and gentlemen, because my girls, honestly, they're all gorgeous looking. Well, not so much the ginger one, but no, honestly, no, we kept her, you know. But when we kept her on the same basis as, you know, people used to keep canaries when they went down the mines, we've kept her for the global warming, because we reckon the ginger ones are going to get it first, really. So when she starts curling up at the edges, it's time to go, really. But no, honestly, they are. They're lovely, my girls. They're all stunners, absolute stunners. And over the years, that attracts a bit of male attention. And you get quite protected. You get protected, wouldn't you? You get protected. You got daughters here? Are you protected? Yeah, I know the feeling well. So, we had this one lad a couple of years ago. And, well, he just wouldn't take no for an answer. And all the attention is not welcome. And it's not reciprocated. And he's just ringing her on the phone, knocking on the front door, inviting her out. And I was at my wit's end as a dad. Until my saviour arrived in the form of Liam Neeson. Now, this might be a spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, but if you've never seen the film Taken, Liam Neeson plays an ex-CIA operative who doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. And his only darling daughter goes on a holiday to Paris, a holiday that he doesn't approve of. And on the very first day, she's kidnapped by Albanian people traffickers. And she makes a frantic phone call to her dad, and she's screaming down the phone to her dad, but she gets grabbed and she drops the phone. But the phone's still live. And the kidnapper picks it up. And Liam Neeson can hear him down the other end, breathing. And so he says to her, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If it's money you're after, I don't have any. But what I do have is a particular set of skills. Skills acquired over a very long career. Skills that might be a nightmare for people like you. Give me my daughter back, and that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you. Now, in fairness, the lad took it quite well. You know. For an 8-year-old. It's the sort of thing you do when you get older, isn't it? It's the sort of thing you do. How long have you been together? You didn't count 30 years, right? Yeah. Well, I celebrated my 36th wedding anniversary last week. Thanks very much. But the sort of thing you do when you've been married or when you've been in a relationship for a long time, do you find yourself watching the telly and think, oh, that's a good idea, isn't it? We should have a go at that. That's what me and my missus do. Just go along with it, Karen, for fuck's sake, will you? I'm trying my hardest here, I'm working. So we do, we sit there, the kids have all thrown a mess, we're sat there watching it, and usually it's something innocent, like the Great British Bake Off or Grand Designs. And you'll sit there and say, oh, look at that. Broccoli quiche with chorizo. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. Oh, look at that. Bifold doors open out onto a sunset. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. And then you watch a film like Sliver with Sharon Stone. And you think, oh, sex in the shower. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. And it seems like a good idea at the time, doesn't it? But frankly, the time was about 35 years ago. And I still had some upper body strength. Bit of flexibility and some cartilage in my knees. Now, health and safety nightmare. Honestly, if you did a proper risk assessment, they'd say, no, it's reckless. The National Health Service is under too much strain. Now, the first and very obvious problem is I'm slightly under 6'2", and my wife's about 5'5". Now that leaves a very obvious and immediate shortfall of about 9 inches. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not equipped to bridge that gap. Now it's not a problem in the films, is it? They're young and they're lithe and they're passionate and they're throwing caution to the wind. They make it look easy. Well, it's not. The reality, ladies and gentlemen, the sad reality, it's like sticking 80 bags of sugar in a rucksack and putting it on back to front. And it's slippy in there. At my age, it's hard enough trying to stay on the top of my own 2 feet, let alone someone else's. I've tried wearing wellies. They just keep filling up. So I moved on to my walking boots. And Gore-Tex, they've got a good Vibram sole. I'll grant you, it's not the sexiest look, but it's a bit safer. Not to fit a little shelf to rest her arms on. A couple of grab handles. Well, only £9.95 a pair at Screwfix, isn't it? Oh dear. The look we've arrived at is not so much sex dungeon as disabled toilet, really, is it? We used to have a safe word. Now we've just got an emergency pull cord. Yeah. A little red triangle on the end. You don't want to catch that. That goes straight through to care line. And if you don't ring straight back, you've got all the emergency services in your bathroom. Your police, fire and ambulance. And two naked, crumpled bodies. It's like someone's been filming a fucking YMCA video that's gone horribly wrong. That's the other thing about getting old, isn't it? Do you remember when you used to dance to YMCA? It was all in capitals, wasn't it? I'm lucky if I can manage lowercase now. But the worst thing about it, I don't know, have you ever tried to snog your partner in the shower? It's like being waterboarded. And then the confessions start tumbling out, don't they? I didn't put the recycling out. I did not stack the dishwasher. I shanked your sister. I didn't even know she liked my sister. These are the things you do when you're old, isn't it? Isn't it? Why am I picking on you? The biggest fella in the room, 7 times. Do you know my mate Phil Wilson? Yeah, you must do. No. The things you do when you're older, I don't know if you anyone else a blood donor? Anyone giving blood? Oh yeah. Well done, good on you. I do find with a more mature audience, you used to give him blood, you only had to give a bit back. So I went to give blood last week. I've been giving blood for 30 odd years now. And I went on my push bike because, well, my missus had the car. And I thought, save a bit of money anyway, I'll just ride down, but I forgot my glasses. And if you've ever given blood, you'll know that there's a questionnaire. As soon as you go in, the first thing they do, they give you this questionnaire. It's like the Spanish Inquisition, it really is. And so she said, you'll have to fill this questionnaire. I said, I've not brought my glasses. She said, it's all right, we'll get one of the nurses to read it to you. So she reads it out, she says, since your last donation, have you had sex with anyone with us? I might be able to save you a bit of time on this one. She says, no, I've got to ask the question. She says, since your last donation, have you had sex with anyone with human T-cell lymphomatic virus, or anyone who's ever had viral hemorrhagic fever, including Ebola? I've been out of the dating scene for quite some time, but that's not the kind of question I ask a girl on the first date. You know? I'm a bit more traditional. Would you like a glass of wine? Maybe go out for dinner. So she carried on. She said, since your last donation, have you used drugs during sex, excluding erectile dysfunction drugs or cannabis? Have you had sex with a new partner or with more than one partner? Have you been given money or drugs for sex? Have you had sex with anyone who's ever been given money or drugs for sex? Have you had sex with anyone who's ever injected drugs? Or have you been to Mexico for more than 3 weeks? And the only conclusion I can draw, ladies and gentlemen, is that every other bastard blood donor is having a lot more fun than I am. But Mexico sounds like a fantastic place to go on holiday. Anyway, I'm going to have to go now because it's my time's pretty much up. But I was doing a gig the other day. I was going to come on the train tonight, but you never know at the moment, do you, whether they're going to be on strike. And I couldn't get a direct one. I had to have a change. And I did that journey a couple of nights ago doing a gig. You know, where you've got to change. And I hate changing trains. And I don't know about it. I find that the younger generation these days, they're just a bit more inconsiderate, aren't they? Now, I used to smoke. I was a smoker 35 years ago, probably like most ex-smokers. I hate the smell now. I can't stand it. So, I'm sitting on this railway station on a bench, and there's only one bench on this railway station. And there's these two girls on this side. And there's these two fellas on this side. And I'm waiting for my connection. Next minute, these two start vaping. And there's fumes, sweet smelling, horrible fumes, billowing all over them. Next minute, this fella lights up a cigarette. No, you're not meant to smoke or vape on the platform. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've got clouds to the left of me. Smokers to the right. And here I am, stuck in the middle, in Crewe. Ladies and gentlemen, you will love the audience. Happy to be here. Thanks very much. Good night.